Go.
It sounds a little lo-fi to me. Does it sound lo-fi when that song plays?
No, I like it.
The website
Hello.
101 podcast.
Yes.
Hi.
Instead of just Mike and I talking to each other, let's say hello, viewer. Viewer,
Yeah.
welcome to the website 101 podcast. This is our bi-monthly YouTube live lunch bite. Notice how
Right.
we're nerds, and so we called it lunch bite.
BYTE.
That's how we go.
Sean's not here.
No, Sean's actually busy doing client work today.
Actual work. Yeah.
Good for him.
So it's just the two of us. Yeah, good for him.
Yes.
How are you doing, Amanda?
I am very cranky because I'm trying to do a home project, just hanging a couple of like picture rails, and it's going really poorly, and I'm not happy about it. How are you? How are you doing, Mike?
Yeah, I feel you. We're going through a bunch of we're moving, basically. I'll just say that. We're moving from this house to another house. So we're in that transitional period. If I sound echoey, it's because this room is empty. So what are you going to do? So it's stressful, but my lovely wife is taking care of virtually all of the moving stuff, and I'm doing a lot of the pack the kids' lunches and that kind of thing while that gets done. But it's a pretty stressful thing to do.
It is. I think that I read. I remember in university and taking a statistics class, and they were talking about like the most stressful times of a person's life, and of course it's like death of a loved one, and of course it's losing a job. Moving was like right up there. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, and of course it all culminates with ends with decorating and interior design and hanging stupid picture rails. Honestly, I just want to get like the biggest hot glue gun ever and just slap it up on the wall and be like, it's never coming down.
Yeah, that's right, because we're going to be renovating the place we're moving into. So there's that whole thing too. It's not just moving in. It's not moving ready. We have to do renovations. So not looking forward to it, to be honest with you. Anyway, there's worse problems to have.
No, for sure. No, it's absolutely true.
Well, we in the process of doing this move and things being stressful and whatever, my wife and I treated ourselves to lunch at a nearby restaurant here. And when we were in the restaurant, it was during the day, obviously during the week, so there wasn't many people there, but there was one other table with these two women, and a robot came out and brought them their dishes. Have you ever seen this?
I haven't seen it in person, but I've seen it on the Reddit and the YouTubes and things like that. I
really wish they brought it to now. When I say robot, it was more like an a la carte table with multiple like shelves, no head or anything, but it looked like it was like an a la carte table designed by Apple or designed by Dyson or something, like real cool, sleek looking. Yeah. And it wheels itself into the room and it starts whistling, like it was whistling this stupid tune like you'd hear on a bank commercial, like doo, 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 like a glockenspiel playing in the background too. And it's wheeling over and it goes over to these girls at the table and they're like, what? They were already half in the bag because they were drinking. So they were like, what is going on here? Anyway, it's like then the server comes over and sort of starts taking stuff off the robot shelves. And then the robot says, enjoy your meal, like a voice, and then turns around and starts whistling again, goes back into the kitchen after the server. But it was totally automated. Like the server didn't wheel it it just drove around the restaurant. And it was pretty awesome, I have to say.
Yes, that's very cool. But it didn't do anything except carry the food. Like it would have been cool had like a ramp flopped out onto the table and then the food like conveyor belted down or something like that. That would have been very, Bugs Bunny, industrial music in the background. Steps forward.
Yeah, it was more. That's true. It was more like a mechanism to help the server do her job. But I assume eventually it'll be like have little arms that take the plates off the thing and put them on the table. That's what I'm hoping. Anyway.
Yeah, except that of course I've also seen a bunch of videos of all of these automated things messing up.
Yeah,
like
knocking drinks over and stuff.
sorry?
Like knocking over their drinks on the table or whatever.
Yeah, or like the automated ice cream server that's got like the glass panel and you can see it, and the robot arm comes around to get the cone, and instead of like closing on the cone, it like crushes it and then goes over for the soft serve ice cream, and it just goes into like the open robot hand because the cone is now gone. And then when it goes over to like put it in the out for the person to get, it's like just a big handful of mush by that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's cheered me up anyway. I was like, wow, this is really cool. A robot.
Yeah,
That's
that
awesome.
would be fun to see.
It was fun.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a nice natural segue from that into just some other online services, and how wouldn't it be nice if they all had the same functionality? But I can't think of any, so I'm just gonna dive right into this. So with my clients, I can accept online payments, like from my record keeping software, and it will send out PDFs, and then also the invoicing has a link to Stripe, so that my client can actually like go and pay via credit card for my services and whatever. So I have a Stripe account. With this e-com site that I'm working on right now, they also are using Stripe, but wouldn't it be a huge hassle to always have to contact the client and be like, oh, I need the two-factor authentication. Can you? So Stripe has this cool feature where you can like invite team members, basically. So you can like give another user access to your Stripe account. And I'm like, oh, that's great. So it's like I log in with my one Stripe login, and I can switch between my account or the client's account. And then quite frankly, when the project's over, if the client just wants to like boot me out of their profile, that's great. Everything is fine. So with this e-com and payments, and of course, what else happens with e-coms is you need to send emails. Congratulations, here's your order. Thank you for blah, blah, blah. And they're using SendGrid.
Okay.
Because a lot of times it's a whole thing getting into email and services and IPs getting cut off and called spam because of other people on the same server. Anyway, so SendGrid, I also have my own SendGrid account. If you go to my website and you go to the contact form, it uses SendGrid to send the email to me, just to make sure that it always gets sent, right? So this client, because they're also using SendGrid, at first they were like, here's our login, go ahead and use it. And SendGrid is like really particular about every single time you log in, you have to do the two-factor authentication.
Yeah.
Which is good and secure, but also a huge pain in the ass because I have to contact the client, get them to reply, then I log in, then they send me the code, then I have to enter it. And if it's not done in 15 minutes, the whole process repeats, whatever. It turns out SendGrid also has this like teammates type feature. And I was like, great, awesome, add me to that, everything will be great. I actually had to create a different login for the client teammate account. So it's not this, and SendGrid apparently isn't smart enough to be like, oh, this one login is going to have access to a bunch of them. No, I've now got to like remember, save, set aside somewhere a completely different username and password just to be able to do client work.
Oh man, what a pain.
It really is.
The multi-factor thing, it's so irritating. Like tell me if you know anything about this. Our family, we share various logins and whatnot for in one password is what we use, which is the password manager. But like say a bank where you log in and then it says use your authenticator app to, rather than have it send you a text, you can tell it to use an authenticator app, and you open it up and type in those 6 numbers into their thing, and that's how it works. I couldn't figure out if the one that I have set up on my authenticator, can my wife use it? Can she set up an authentic? Oh, it's doing do you guys see that? Do you see that right now?
I do see that.
That's my, I have a Mac, so it does these crazy, stupid things whenever I make various gestures. Sorry about that.
Hold on. So I see it on Riverside, but I don't know that I see it. I do see it on the YouTube share. It is on the YouTube Live. I also received a message from our friend Steve that says talking shit about SendGrid is one of his favorite pastimes as well.
Yes.
Hi,
Yeah.
Steve. If
Hey,
you're
Steve.
watching the YouTube, feel free to add it to the YouTube chat. It makes us feel special
That's right.
that like people are actually watching.
Yeah. So anyway, this authenticator thing, like, how can two people have the same authenticator, like an authenticator app that talks to the same service, like a bank, so that if the bank wants her to log in, it sends it to both of us. She can type it in as well, or does it have to be me? Do you know what I mean?
I do
I
know
don't
what you
know.
mean. I know that with our banking, we have separate logins, but with our joint credit card, for whatever reason, I have to log in with Andrew's
We have that
username and
too. Yeah.
password.
She logs in with mine.
Whenever it
Eh,
asks for the two-factor authentication, I always have to get him to send it to me.
Yeah, she always
Yep.
sends, she says, the bank thing is me. And I get a notice that says, are you trying to log in? And I go, yes, I am. And I
Yes.
log in, but it's her that's doing it. Oh, so
Yeah.
irritating.
No, like so going back to Stripe, which is really cool. Stripe also has the two-factor authentication that you sometimes I've got like 3 different two-factor authentication apps on my phone. Thank you, variety. Why can't it just be one? So I've got but whether it's logging in to see my account or to see the client Stripe information, again, they're smart enough to know that, one login is for all of these different profiles, but that means that the one login just has the one two-factor authentication. So no matter
Yeah.
which profile I'm going to go look at, I can at least get in and then just change while I'm in there, which is awesome. As
Yeah.
opposed to SendGrid, where I have to log out and log back in and
We
2FA
should have started
again.
this, we should have started this segment as UX issues, because I got another one about
Go.
Stripe.
Okay.
So, and this happened once before with a client, and then that same client forgot about it and did it again the other day, and I had to fix it again. So here's what it is that
Yeah.
when you're paying with a credit card on Stripe, it gives you at least the interface I was using, it gives you your mailing address. It asks you for that. So you put in your name and your address and whatever, postal code. And then on the right, it gives you your credit card information. You type in your credit card number, expiry date, your little secret code, and then it asks you for the postal code over there as well. But it's not its own field. It's like attached to, I think, the 3-digit thing. So
Oh.
basically, if you don't type it in, which you might not, because it doesn't explicitly say type in a postal code here, but if you don't type it in, it'll reject the card. It'll say, I need your postal code. And you look at the form on the left, and you say, I just typed a postal code. It's right there. But it has to go over there as well. There's 2 places you have to type a postal code.
Okay, but people using a corporate card, the postal code could be different on the credit card than on the billing. Well, I guess not
Yeah.
the billing. I guess.
Well,
not
no,
the
you're
billing.
right. Actually,
Oh.
that is what happened in this case, because I was able to use this corporate card had a different, it's like their head office, but this person that was authorizing me had a different. I'm cool with that. You want to type it in twice, fine. But it's not at all clear on the form on the right that you need to type it in and where. You sort of have to, I think I had to like use dev tools to like inspect the
wow.
field and go, oh, that's looking for a postal code. That's where it is. Yeah, I think that's how I
That's
solved it.
annoying. So Steve says that he found a tool called, I can't read it because the stupid emoticon thing is in the way, Wavebot, that solves the multi-account login problems.
Okay. Wavebot?
I can't see it because stupid,
We can ask him later to confirm.
stupid
I'm gonna look that up. I like
YouTube
that.
live chat thing has got, I can heart it or 100, I give it 100, but there we go. Yay. But it's like, it's like behind it. Hold on.
All right.
If I add my own comment, Steve's will push up. There we go. Wavebox. It solves
Wavebox,
the
I see it here, yeah.
multi-account login problem. I'm gonna go check that out. Thanks, Steve.
Interesting. Yeah, thank you.
It's nice. It's nice having except of course, it's probably gonna like cause some other problem for me to complain about in the future. It seems that's all I ever do lately.
Sometimes that
Internet,
happens.
get off my lawn. That seems like all I ever do anymore.
Have you, speaking of complaints, such as our want here at the Website 101 podcast. Have you ever had a situation where you're working with, I had this situation once where I'm working with a client, but they're working with another organization. I guess you don't do a lot of design stuff, so maybe this doesn't, where it was like another organization was contributing to the design. But when they send the thing that I have to work with, like I'm like, okay, I'll work with what they're doing. I really got the feeling that they were phoning it in. Like they were kind, it was really, they talked like it was kind of, oh, we're trying to go minimalist and clean. And but I love that stuff. That's my design style. But it was like so minimalist. It was like they spent an hour on it. And my client is like, you know, oh, we really like, this is where they're going. There's like 2 colors, I think, in that mock-up. 2 colors being used instead of a color palette. Mm-hmm. And I was just like,
white and black.
If this is something. Yeah. Well, it was white and black and something else, but I don't know. Sometimes I wonder how I should deal with things like that. If I should ever push back and say, well, you know, I really think we could do more than this, or I should just go, okay, if that's what you want me to work with. Anyway, it's just something that occurred to me recently.
Yeah, I worked on a project one time, and the whole, God, it was ugly. The whole thing of it was like black background with like just bright yellow accent, like so, you know, like alternating rows would be black and yellow, and any like links would be yellow, and I mean like like not even like a gentle hex code for a yellowish color, but like just fucking yellow. And I said something about it's like, oh, do we actually want it to look like this? And I mean, I was brought in like later. I was like cleaning some stuff up. So it was like at the end of the project, and it wasn't the end client, but it was like my contact, and he was just like, yeah, no, the design's been dealt with, and I was just kind of like,
we already dropped 10 grand on that, so don't change it.
However much they dropped, man, I do not think it was a good amount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but I think that, I think that if you're not the designer on a project, the client has already approved the design, so just go with it.
Yeah, and I think more clients need to make decisions about who is leading what part of the project. Like, and just say explicitly, look, we're hiring them, whatever they come up with, that's what we're doing. So you have to work within those constraints. Like, just say it. Whether it doesn't have to be me, but I think a lot of clients kind of think, oh, we're working with this guy and these people. We'll just get them to talk to each other and they can figure it out, you know? And I don't think that's never a good idea.
Yeah.
Should be a project lead.
There should be a project lead. I mean, there should be a project lead. There should be a lot of roles that, quite frankly, don't exist on some of these independent projects. Yeah. I don't know. Mike, stay in your lane. That's all I can recommend.
Well,
don't step on anyone's toes. Yes, you're better. I'll accept it.
It's funny you say that. That's often what, you know, the voice that comes up when I do have these complaints. I think, like, am I just being like, like I said, get off my lawn, like this is my thing, stay away, or do I just think I'm better than those guys and I'm not? Like, that could be, I don't know. I'm probably
I think you're probably, yes, I would give you that. But I think Steve says that there should be a lot of things. There should be a lot of things on some of these projects. Yeah, Steve agrees. A lot of these roles on some projects that clients don't want to pay for, so they don't exist, which sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that, I guess just, especially because design is like it is so personal, and it is so, everyone's got an opinion as to whether or not, like functionality, I feel like you can give an explanation, you know, UI, UX, you know, history has shown, experience has shown that this is probably the better way to go. But I feel like with design, especially if somebody else is doing it, and if the client's approved on it, accepted it, then you just gotta kind of go with it.
Yeah, it's definitely harder to justify why one design is better than another, like objectively. It's easier when you can point to like, well, here we just spoke to these users and they are not understanding this form, so we have
Yeah.
to change it.
Yeah.
That's easy to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, interesting. I was gonna say something, now I forget. Whatever. Move on.
That's fine.
So what else are we gonna talk about?
So Steve says, I generally give clients my opinion on how I think things could be improved, and if they don't agree, I move along. And yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I
that's a good
absolutely
approach.
agree. But again, like because I'm not a designer, I think I especially sort of learned in that one instance that it's like just because I don't like it doesn't mean that it wasn't tested. It doesn't mean it didn't go through like a long approval process. And so I think that with
Yeah.
certain things, I'm just gonna keep my opinion to myself.
Yeah, and I think if it went through a long approval process and people thought it through, sure. But sometimes I wonder if they didn't. They just kind of said, "Oh, that's the thing." Okay.
I often wonder if they did, but I wasn't a part of the project from the beginning, so I don't know.
Yeah,
And,
definitely.
yeah.
I remember what I was going to say. Do you listen to Wes Boss's podcast? Is it Syntax FM? I think it's called.
I know of it and I have listened to it, but I'm not a regular listener.
Not regular. Yeah, it's the same with me. I tune in and out because they put out a lot of stuff. Anyway, there was a great episode the other day about accessibility, but specifically ARIA roles and ARIA labels. Do you use? I don't use them enough as much as I should.
So
do you use
in one of the classes that I teach, we do discuss accessibility. And what I've learned and what I've checked out from ARIA rules is that because they are sometimes with accessibility, it's going to help the user using the assistive device, but also it helps the web page in general. It helps like all users.
Okay.
ARIA attributes are mostly for the assistive devices. So the example that I always give in class is that they are typically mostly used when you are using an HTML element in a not standard way.
Right.
So
Yeah.
for example, the specific example that I give is if you have a checkbox and it's got a label and it's like, yes, the label for attribute matches the input ID attribute. Everything is great. Assistive devices knows how do they work. I hate saying regular, but all users know how it works. All browsers know how it works. Everybody can figure that out. If for whatever reason you wanted to use like a div or a span to give the visual representation of a checkbox. So you style it with CSS, you use JavaScript to have like the check mark change or whatever it is. A browser can show that, sighted people can see it, but an assistive device is just gonna see that span and be like,
Right.
"Meh." So a lot of times the ARIA attributes are gonna tell the assistive devices, oh, hey, this is like the role is a checkbox. ARIA checked is false, as in right now it's not checked. ARIA required is true, as in, hey, the role is a checkbox, it needs to be checked in order to continue.
So I didn't know about, the only ones they talked about were ARIA role, ARIA label, which is the, submit the form to send us an email, whatever you type in, like a descriptive thing of what's happening. And they talked about ARIA labeled by, but I don't think they talked about those other ones you mentioned. Like you can have like ARIA checked and ARIA, what else was it you said? Like, can you just make up any ARIA attribute?
No.
Or is there a certain
So
setup?
in the chat, I'm sharing a link that goes to Mozilla. Here, I'll send it. I'll just send it to Mike separately.
Sure.
And it has ARIA. It has a list of ARIA attributes down the left-hand column, and there are
Okay.
dozens.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So-
Wow. I had no idea. I mean,
Yeah.
I knew some of them, but I didn't know.
Yeah. So like the ARIA max value, ARIA read-only, ARIA position inset, ARIA owns, ARIA multi-line, ARIA. So it's like all of these, and like I said, so when you use an HTML element for different than its default.
Right. Yeah. Like I think they gave an example with a checkbox where they said if the checkbox is not located inside the label field, like wrapped in it. Oh, here we go. Look at this. Look who joined us for 5 minutes.
Hi, Sean.
Hey, I made it.
Yay.
Sorry, everybody.
That's
No
all right.
problem. Good to see you.
We're
We were just talking about
accessibility and ARIA labels.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's important stuff.
Do you use ARIA stuff a lot in your work? I don't use it enough.
I gotta say, I don't use it enough.
Amanda just told me there's like 30, what is it? 30 or 50 maybe.
I don't know.
There's
A
lot.
bunch
Is
of
it?
them.
A whole bunch of different things you can use. I don't know if we
A
are
bunch of
expected
different
to use
ARIA
them.
attributes.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And like I was saying, they are because they are mostly to help explain to assistive devices what your non-standard HTML element is trying to do. The example that I always teach is if you, instead of having an input where type equals checkbox, if you use like a span or a div, and if you and so CSS will style it and JavaScript will handle the functionality, but assistive devices aren't going to understand what that span is supposed to be doing.
Yeah, or you're making a div act like a button. You can say
Yeah.
ARIA role button. And
Well, yeah, it
then
would just be
it'll know
role
you're
equals
supposed to click
button.
on it.
Yeah, well, the best thing to
Okay.
do is just to use the proper HTML, if possible. Like
Yes.
turning
course,
a
yeah.
div into a button is just a mistake. You should just use
Yeah.
a button unless there's a good reason. And I
agreed.
can't think of one.
Well,
Well,
how
the
about,
reason-
how about stupid designers that,
Yeah.
that want you? The checkbox has to be styled this way, and it must be the same across all platforms. And it's like, well, it's not going to be. Well, make it. And it's like, well, all right then.
Yeah,
We can't
Yeah.
make it. ARIA will help.
Yeah, I think also maybe the only time I could really see it being something is if you're working with a legacy system and you can't rebuild it for whatever, like for any number of reasons, then yeah, if you gotta get your site accessible, you need to do these ARIA labels and stuff.
Yeah, the reason we're bringing it up is I listened to Wes Boss's podcast, Syntax FM, the other day, and they talked about some of these ARIA value things, ARIA attributes, and they mentioned that Google and Facebook are notoriously really bad for misusing elements in the way
Oh,
that they're not meant to be
interesting.
used. Yeah, that's what they said.
That
in their
episode
message.
is queued up next to my podcast player.
It's a good one. You should check it out. Everybody here should check it. Everybody listening, watching, should check out Wes Boss's.
Somebody
100%.
send me.
Who's the other guy?
Send me the link, and I'll add it to the show notes after. Steve has sent me a private message saying that talking shit about stupid designers is my second favorite pastime.
That's my number one favorite pastime. I think. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Cool. Sean, anything to add?
Yeah, I was about to cut
I'm
him
sorry, I
off, but
missed
yeah,
that?
do you have anything to add?
No, because I came in at the very end, but I just wanted to. You guys, I saw you weren't done. I looked at YouTube. You were still talking, so I decided to come in and pop in
I'm
at the
glad you
very
did.
end. Sorry, I couldn't make it. I made a
Client
commitment
work.
at the same time, and things
Yeah.
happen.
That takes precedence
do.
for sure. I'm sure everyone
It's
forgets
client
it.
work.
Yeah. Okay. Should we call it? Wrap
I
it?
think we should.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you,
That's a
thank you,
wrap.
Sean, for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me at the end.
See you next time.